full of creativity and entrepreneurship.
Agenda 2063 of the African Union promises inclusive growth and sustainable development throughout Africa. Pursuant to this vision, we have prioritized economic development, inter-Africa and international commerce, and we are consciously using our remarkable resources to generate value and jobs for our people. Eswatini has fully embraced the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement and its implementation plan, as we appreciate worldwide partnerships and learning from their development paths.
The King and Ngonyama also highlighted that the Kingdom of Eswatini is willing to help Africa and Korea prosper together in the collaborations between the continent and South Korea.
We wish to encourage the Korean business community to join the efforts of the government in making this endeavor a success by investing in Africa. We urge you to choose a location to establish these industries, as in Africa we are no longer competing but complementing each other to achieve the goals we have set for ourselves. We are here, therefore, to show our commitment to working together as guided by the principles of the AU Agenda 2063 and the SDGs Agenda 2030 to achieve the Africa we want.
His Majesty also emphasized that the summit presents an opportunity for Africa and Korea to understand each other much better and develop a strong partnership. On the news, I'm Polile Mazia with Tabiso Dlamini in South Korea.
The Honourable Minister of Education and Training, Owen Nxumalo, says there is no policy in Eswatini that allows school principals to withhold results for learners owing school fees. The minister was speaking in Parliament on Monday.
When the House of Assembly met for parliamentary work on Monday, the Honourable Minister of Education and Training, Owen Nxumalo, provided responses in the House for a question asked by Lomamba Lomzala, Member of Parliament Mawi Kumalo, which says, could the Honourable Minister of Education inform the Honourable House if he's comfortable with the fact that many people remain at home because of financial challenges, and some having completed Form 5 without having access to their certificates because of non-payment of exam fees.
Labo head teacher sebanako lokuthi letikolwa netabo silitiko kwesiyinto lesilungisako kulamalanga kuthi labo head teacher bacelwe lokuthi bayobukela sife kuletikolo hayi ukuthi bese bathatha ama decision la ngetulu kwabo.
The Honourable House then debated the matter.
Laba seba affectwe ngile malpractice yalabo head teacher nyablo abahlele emakhaya suffering induna ithi itakulungisa njani lokho
beyini le nda labo thela labakhulu sibabambele lemiphumela mhlambe nanikhuluma nangabe senikutholile niyenende njani lokubabambisa kulolu hlangothi
kuliqiniso lekusho induna nalabo head teachers sebalingisa labantwana balale emakhaya ethu ukuthi lenzaba yokurelease kwaleti imali ukuze sibakhona ekusebenza iye bese ibanjwa yini.
The Honourable Minister of Education then responded to the concerns of the House.
Bahlonishwa ngicela sibangiside vele ngitaba nebulukhulu ukubona ukuthi bakuphi baphi labantwana nangabe vele abantwana niyavati bakhona sithinzeni labo bothishela labo uyabuta umhlonishwa ukuthi awenzekani kubo sawa discipline.
The House of Assembly made a request to the Minister of Education of public-private collaborative efforts for sustainable and inclusive education system of Eswatini. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samkal Suekoza with Sikumbuzo Dlamini and Tindzaba, Parliament.
The Honourable Minister of Education and Training, Tindzaba, says schools who have not received school books must urgently report to the ministry. The minister was addressing the House of Assembly on Monday.
So atholile nje ama-reports awu lapha sekuphephukile ngiyabekisa lapha sekwenteke ukuthi sasukuma sawufulela because sithole ini ema-reports bathi-ke i-reaction yami iba kanjani nangithola lokho iba buhlungu kakhulu lapho khona kude stationary asebabone ukuthi ngeke ngifike yini ne-stationary bese-ke babuya la ndlini ukuthi awu bekasekalete imithi yini sawucela speaker hulumende wembubo ukugcizelele ngalokhu le ndzaba yebantwana latikolweni imcoka kakhulu speaker asingalimati future yabo nathi thina lesibekiwe lapha bohla lesangweni ukuthi asikubukete lokhu asithi nkwe so ngiloko nje speaker lokuthi asithole letikolwa nangabe kude letincwadzi hulumende ibudget isithola kwa education bahlolisho iphasiswa ngeni la ngiyayibona kusingakanani so nangabe ke ngitawuphasisa ibudget lapha sakuyosetshedwa bese akusenziwa kahle ihliziyo yami ngeke ihlale ngabe ibuhlungu.
The Minister of Finance, Nuwerkenbeck, says government is amending the fuel levy regulations to cover every machinery that uses fuel. The minister was speaking in Parliament on Monday.
When the House of Assembly resumed for parliamentary work on Monday, the Honourable Minister of Finance, Nuwerkenbeck, gave answers on a question posed by Lobamba Lomtsala Member of Parliament, Marie Kumalo, saying could the Honourable Minister of Finance inform the Honourable House if the law governing the Sincepetelo MVA fund, especially the fuel levy component, was not violated when the Minister's office decided to issue a letter as a relief gesture to Eswatini Railway.
The plan is to actually, going to the future, to include railways, which means that there will then be a fuel levy on the fuel used by railways, number one. And secondly, there will then be a compensation for them in case anything happens on the railways. But the current legislation as we have it, Honourable Speaker, is actually, number one, at the moment what we are doing is we have issued a letter to Eswatini Railways exempting them from paying the levy that would normally go to the Motor Vehicle Accident Fund. And we did that based on the fact that in Section 4, in paragraph L, it says the Motor Accident Fund of 1991, as amended in 2011, it says that the fund has powers to do all such things as are incidental or conducive to the exercise of its powers or the performance of its duties.
Lobamba Lomtsala Member of Parliament had a follow-up question on the matter.
The fuel levy, legislature nayimark yamakhela kokuthi ayizange isho ukuthi niwetindiza ngabe nangabathi bestimela Minister laba betindiza bona bayibhadalini le fuel levy, are they exempted yini currently? Is there any letter exempting them? Because kodwa umuntu ongalimala la moyeni ufuna lokuva lokuthi is the exemption uniform?
The Honourable Minister of Finance then responded to the question.
We do think this is unneat, Honourable Speaker, and hence that's why I said I think it's a very good question that was raised, because the fact of the matter is, at the moment, sometimes you'll find when you have different provisions handling the same situation in a different way, you find that it's neater to handle all the situations with one method and one mechanism. And hence we felt like it'll be neater, as was raised, is to say, let us rather have the fuel levy cover the whole industry, be it on the farms or whatever, motorbikes, and whatever uses fuel, let the fuel levy cover.
The minister also said the ministry will table the amended regulations in the House. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samkal Suekoza with Sikumbuzo Dlamini and Tindzaba, Parliament.
The Eswatini Business Teachers Association gathered scholars under the commercial subjects from around the country to equip them on opportunities available within the commercial field. The event was held at the Millennium Park in Manzini on Tuesday.
The main objectives of gathering the learners was to equip them in choosing the right career path in their commercial studies, as well as taking them through jobs available in the commercial field. The Eswatini Business Teachers Association Secretary General Precious Gunene says they identified gaps where learners struggle to choose the right career paths and most are clueless when it comes to job opportunities available.
Bringing all the learners who are doing business education from the 4 regions of the country to come and get information on which institutions they can go and apply at once they complete their learning. We saw a gap that sometimes these learners complete school and then they do not have enough information on which places or which institutions where they can go apply and continue with their learning.
The business education inspector under the whole region, Pilar Dlamini, says this will be beneficiary to the learners and applauds the association for such.
This is a very important event for us as Inspectorate to ensure quality education and understanding the subjects as a whole, what they mean in these days where there is no employment opportunities in the country. These subjects are also going to give them the room to employ people or to be the employers of quite a number of other citizens of the country.
The scholars thanked the opportunity presented to them.
Sizokhona kubuse siphinde sidelelive ngamanyalo njengoba kude imisebenzi sithi cashele thina njengabantu labasha sithi cashele thina tinfo sitendele thina singarely on government.
Maybe Zuza, those kind. Some of us talk about more accountants, more businessmen, yeah, all the stuff.
Kubanelwadi ukuthi angicede isikole angingabheka phi ama-opportunities la available now. Nekuthi nje i-future ngiyiphendishe kanjani.
Asita nokuthi sathi ukuthi ngimaphi ama-career lesitaba nawo. Labanye nje bekhona labangadi ukuthi letifundo latifundzayo timcokanga.
Different companies also explained job opportunities available within the commercial and business sector. Universities and colleges were also present. For Eswatini TV News, I am Kian Msibi with Nompumelelo Khumalo Manzini.
Gogo Sibongile Nzinisa of Kandlunganya asked the nation to assist her in finishing her house at Tindzaba. She says due to her ill health and old age, she's unable to complete the house and lives through the elderly grant, which she uses to pay rent and meet the daily needs of her grandson. She says days would pass by without eating anything.
Gogo Sibongile Nzinisa lives with her grandson who attends school in one of the schools in Matsapa. She used to make a living through marketing, but because of old age and ill health, she's unable to. She said she started building a house at Tindzaba, which she's now unable to finish. She says she makes a living out of the elderly grant, which she also uses to take care of her grandson and also pay rent. She sells tins to make a living, which she's unable to anymore due to her ill health.
Lababili basemva kwalo mina azulini bengimarket angisafundi vele kuba la sengifuna kuye ekhaya abangakhona ungifulelela angisafuni.
Local Babuchopho Mshuza Hlope says they know Gogo's situation and pleads for help and assistance to whoever may help Gogo Nzinisa.
Siyakhala vele siyadicelela nathi sishikisha tandla esiveni ngosiyami lokho ukuthi nakukuhle lapho bantu bangakhona kuphosa baphose ngosiyami usala umuntu omdala ayoqedzela lo mphahla lwakhe lapha kaBhekmosi la akhe khona.
She can be contacted on 7632-5073 or Buchopho Mr. Mshuza Hlope on 7613-1949. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian Msibi with Nompumelelo Khumalo Kandlunganya.
Standard Bank. It can be.
In our international news, 6 people have been killed in Durban after heavy storms ripped through the city yesterday.
A tornado that ripped through KwaZulu-Natal has caused extensive damage to homes and schools, leaving over 1,000 families homeless. The KwaZulu-Natal government is now assessing damage in the area. The storm also knocked out power lines, leaving many parts of Eswatini without electricity. Those left homeless are being housed in public facilities. Emergency services remain on high alert as severe weather warning remain in place. Some roads are still closed, hampering rescue and relief operations. Meanwhile, in South Africa, as the main coalition talks for a new government are only set to take place, the table has been set. The Democratic Alliance has confirmed the preliminary talks with the African National Congress and the Inkatha Freedom Party to outline their respective positions. At this stage, it appears that the Democratic Alliance will prefer to take up leadership roles in Parliament over ministerial positions in the executive, but the DA is again stressed it will not be party to any arrangement that includes EFF, MK Party or the PA. IFP met with the DA to understand each other's thinking and areas of commonality. However, the ANC's tripartite alliance partner, the Congress of South African Trade Unions, COSATU, has already stated it will reject a coalition with Democratic Alliance, where it stated it doesn't want anybody who is going to undermine the labor law. It encouraged the ANC to engage parties aiming to bring a better standard of living for the people, where it made an example of economic freedom fighters, Umkhonto weSizwe or the Patriotic Alliance. On another note, the Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has reappointed Prime Minister Mustafa Modbouly to form a new government. Egypt's presidency said in a statement that Modbouly, who had been Prime Minister since 2018, has been tasked with shaping a new and more capable government to tackle issues at home and abroad. The statement said the new cabinet ministers must safeguard national security in light of the rising regional and international challenges, combat terrorism, and tend to an ailing economy dogged by inflation in need of more local and foreign investment. For Eswatini TV News, Mpendulo Kumbi, visual source from France 24 VOA and DW.
Moving on to sports, Eswatini Cricket Association President Saif Ullah says programs of developing cricket bid division in the country will soon begin. Some of these programs include ensuring that there is enough competition in the country.
Secondly, if team doesn't have the players, even they're not supposed to participate. The 2 players, 3 players here, and I have seen some players they played from two teams, 3 teams, but there is no game which is allowed a player to play from the different teams. Same league, you cannot play it is not allowed. In any sort of game. So those kind of things, of course, we are watching them very closely. We have to change their mindset up. So what they come most of us they just come for the weekend, the fun. But this is for me as a task, it is not a fun only. So there is so many other things for the fun. So they mustn't the think this is a better place for fun. So we have to change their mindset up first. So some they don't know what they are. Really, they have some good bowlers, some good batters, some good fielders, So we have to take them from here to engage them, to invite them, the net sessions, different, the time to time with the coaching stuff. So we already decided, so we will have to set up a committee. Because one person, he's always engaged, most of the time with the A division, Malkans. So this time there is no which is not part of no one part of our committee involved this side. So we have to make a committee, at least 3 people.
Absalom Matsinane, who is the chairman of competitions at Manzini Regional Football Association, says despite the growth of the game, there is a serious challenge of funds, especially when clubs are required to pay 130 Amalangi to use a venue for their league games as per requirement of the municipality of Manzini. Matsinane was speaking to Eswatini TV Sports in Manzini.
Sidlalisa le midlalo lisponsoriswe nge-SNG.
Okay.
Yes.
According to Absalo Matsinane, who is in charge of competitions at the Manzini Regional Football Association, the level of the game seemed to be improving post-COVID-19, where teams have improved their competitive level. He says at the moment the biggest challenge they have encountered is that all teams under the Manzini region are all playing under one competition, especially at promotional level, which is hard sometimes to arrange playoffs. Lastly, the issue of facilities is also another dominating fact, where at the moment the only venue available for most of the time for all the teams is the Zakere Sports Ground. And this is to keep in mind that each team is required to pay at least 130 emarangeni. It then becomes expensive for the teams to pay 130 emarangeni each game for the entire season.
Kumatima babo wami kanzi simo semnotho awulivela kangwane lokho kuphasi kakhulu.
That's all for now. Before I go, here's a reminder of our headlining stories. His Majesty King Mswati III has joined other African heads of states at the ongoing Korea-Africa Summit, where he commended South Korea for its 430 billion Emalangeni pledge towards African development. Minister for Education, Owen Ngumalo, says it is unlawful for school principals to withhold the academic transcripts of learners. Minister for Finance, Nu Workenbeek, says government is amending the fuel levy regulations to cover every machinery that uses fuel. And we'll leave it there for tonight. Up next is the weather update for myself and the crew. Many thanks for your company. Take care.